Hey everybody, welcome to episode 179 of Is This Thing Working? Here we are on a Monday morning with news. Not necessarily good news. If you've been paying attention, you knew about this probably this weekend, but the big news when you woke up this morning is the financial situation and the market situation of this country right now on this very morning. Doesn't look good, guys. But here we go. Me and Denise are here. We're going to bring you what we know about it. We're going to bring you the facts, and we're going to let you decide, to steal a Fox phrase. How are you doing, Denise?
I'm doing awesome on this Monday morning. The weekend was crazy. Overnight, we all heard that Japan's stock market went boom down. So, of course, you know, Japan is ahead of us.
Yeah.
That just goes to show you that if their market is down, ours is going to be down. But if you have to remember, Friday, we also warned you that the market was going down. I mean, Peter Navarro came out and was talking about it, calling it the Kamala Krash. And guess what we have right now? The Kamala Krash.
Yep.
And
it's
happening.
It's beginning.
You know, and there have been many people that have come out with so many different things, you know, that it could be and all that kind of stuff. But my opinion is that they have been inflating these numbers for so long that they finally caught up to them and bit them in the butt. And this is an enormous thing that's happening right now. We have between now and 48 to 72 hours to try to fix it, to correct the stock market. What also happened? Bitcoin has fallen. Now people are coming out and says, well, if we didn't lose the gold standard, then the Bitcoin wouldn't have to prop us up. But was Bitcoin actually out there to prop us up? No, I don't believe that it was.
And that's kind of where I've always been with Bitcoin is I always hear people say, hey, invest in Bitcoin, the returns are this and the returns are that. But what backs up Bitcoin? And that's the thing with anything that you support as far as value. If it's a valuable item, it has to have something to back it up, right?
Right.
Our dollar.
Well, at least with the gold, you had gold bars.
Exactly.
You had the gold standard.
You had something physical you could reach out and touch and go, this is a gold bar. It's worth this much. And the market pays that much for it. This is a bicycle. I'm holding up this bicycle. It's worth this much. And the market pays that much for it.
Right.
But they come out here and they go, here's Bitcoin and it's worth $65,000. And you go, why? Why is it worth that much? And what can you bring back to me? Something solid, tangible that I can look at and go, okay, that makes it valuable.
Well, the fact that they
really,
even put Bitcoin in there, you know, to say that it has anything to do with anything is the wrong thing. For one thing, Kamala Harris needs to own right now what's happening to the market.
The Harris-Biden administration.
Well, I'm going to say Kamala, and this is why. Because she was the deciding vote on two huge spending bills.
Exactly.
That we're just now finding out fraud happened in all of this, like the flight planes. Like, you know, I mean, all that's coming out. And the market is also onto the polls. The polls that are coming out saying Kamala Harris is up, when we all know that's false. There ain't no way she could be up in 2 weeks, way over President Trump and his, you know, economy.
For 3 years, she's the worst vice presidential candidate ever. She got single-digit polling numbers back during the primaries of 20. She got single-digit polling numbers.
Not one vote.
Not one vote.
Not one vote.
Now, I believe a lot of the market uncertainty and a lot of the dip is the fact that now they've announced she's the candidate, she's the nominee, because the day she got all the delegate votes. And when that became official and Wall Street heard that, all the investors begin to drop, man.
Yes.
That's
because
the truth.
She's going to raise up their taxes. I mean, it's already at 35. 35%, and President Trump has promised to bring it down to 21%.
Yep.
So everyone knows that everyone was on the Trump train. And yes, you do not have to be MAGA. You don't have to be anything, any certain group to understand your pocketbook.
Right.
And right now, the pocketbook is the number one issue of the American people right now.
Japan is a good indicator of that, of the market flow that reflects here in the States. And we've watched that dip. Hey, before we get into all that, those are our opinions and there are assertions. And if you like our opinions and our assertions, tell your friends and share the show. And if you don't like our opinions and our assertions, hey, man, like our show and share our show anyway.
Yes, and make sure you stomp that like button. And please follow or subscribe wherever you see the name. Is This Thing Working? And our podcast is available for download on all platforms like Apple, Spotify, and YouTube, and wherever you listen to your podcast.
Download that Rumble app. You can follow our show on there also, and you'll receive instant notifications because we go live every Monday through Friday at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Oh, welcome to the show, everyone.
Exactly. And not only on top of the things that we're talking about, the economy is always the biggest issue. The border is always the biggest issue. But, man, we've got another issue coming up that we've been kind of looking at the past couple of days, and this ought to be as big a concern as those two items I just talked about, the economy and the border. Yeah, but before we get to the show, let's make sure we pay our bills. We would like to welcome our new sponsor to Is This Thing Working? So help us welcome Cornbread Hemp. Their mission is to draw on Kentucky's 250-year legacy of growing hemp, as well as the state's unique climate and soil, to manufacture the highest quality cannabis products available in America. They proudly offer full-spectrum, USDA organic CBD products with up to 2 milligrams of THC per serving. Their plants are grown in what's known as the Bluegrass Basin, which produces the highest quality hemp alongside the best bourbon and fastest racehorses. Cornbread Hemp is one of the very few, if not only, CBD brands in America who exclusively use the hemp flower to create their CBD extract, called Flower Only CBD, and they want the world to know.
Check out Cornbread Hemp by going to cornbreadhemp.com right now for a 30% off your initial purchase of any products on the website. Again, go to cornbreadhemp.com and use promo code ITTW for this special offer. Remember, you get 30% off, promo code ITTW. Thank you for supporting our sponsors. We sure do appreciate it. They keep the show free for you to watch Monday through Friday every day. So I just want to say 3 more months left for political prisoner Steve Bannon.
Yep.
Just 3 more months, 90 days, but we pray for him every day. Hang in there. We're next man up. We're helping with the next man up. Just like he asked, and we got call to actions. We need everybody to continue to post how horrible the economy is, how awful and crime-ridden the border is, and our election integrity. We have exactly 90 days, 95 days to be exact, to get it right. And I'm sorry, there is no redo on November 6th. It's November 5th. That's the date. And we have many places that are still not where we need to be. And one of those is Georgia.
No doubt. No doubt.
In Fulton County, Georgia, I just want to remind everybody what the Fulton County Elections Board hearing was all about. When was this, in May?
It was in May. It was May the 8th that they had this hearing. And on May the 8th, they had a hearing that this information was brought out during that hearing. In Fulton County, they scanned more than 3,000 ballots twice during the recount of the 2020 presidential election. Now, there are also 380,761 ballot images from machine counts that are not available from the 2020 election. And A good point to bring out. Biden won Georgia by an 11,779 vote margin over Trump. This is a portion of that hearing on May the 8th from the election board hearing. Here it goes.
Yes. Do you know why 380,761 ballot images from Election Day machine count are not available?
We subpoenaed Fulton County for all of their ballot images. We received approximately 518,000 ballot images.
From Election Day?
Those are for the recount.
Those are from the recount, but we have no ballot images for 380,761 ballots from Election Day, correct?
What was subpoenaed was the ballot images for the recount because that's what this case was about, not the election day.
Does Fulton County know why there are not 380,761 ballot images from Election Day?
As with the investigators, we have not been apprised of this allegation. This is the first I'm hearing about it. I have no idea what the basis of that allegation is, and so we would have to we can't answer that at this time.
Would Fulton
Do you hear how she tries to go, well, we were unaware of that?
And I don't believe that for one moment.
I don't believe that either. I don't believe that either.
They're very aware that there was a whole lot of problems going on in Georgia, and they refuse to admit or do anything about it. And MTG, that's Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, she was talking to Georgia election official Gabriel Sterling. So listen to her talk to him.
Now, that complaint got largely ignored. No one listened. We reported in the news. We reported it to the Secretary of State's office, reported it constantly, and no one gave a shit about what happened to him. But guess what? It wasn't just him. There were many, many people that reported the same issue, not just in Floyd County, but all over the state. And I want to tell you something else. For you to say there were no dead voters in Georgia, there was thousands of dead voters in Georgia. And then the other thing is, you have constantly shilled for this election, and I'm going to tell you, there was blatant outright fraud in the 2020 election, complete and total fraud. You know it. You absolutely do know it. And I'm going to follow up with one more thing. Trump won Georgia.
Do you see what she said? And at the very beginning of that, when she said that it did happen to him, she's talking about her ex-husband who went to go vote and found out what?
That he had already voted.
Uh-huh.
And that happened all over Georgia.
Yes.
And, you know, we're talking about Georgia today, but that happened all over the country. I mean, all of a sudden, I mean, that they just threw people's votes away. And President Trump, he was at a rally in Atlanta, Georgia on Saturday. Man, the amount of people that were there. It really goes to show you, you know, I call them now the people's rally because the people show up.
Exactly.
And you can say all day long, and that's like we were talking about the polls.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the polls. Oh, all of a sudden, Kamala Harris is way up in the polls. Not if you look at what's really going on out in America. It's Trump everywhere. Everyone is for Trump. Every color is for Trump. The only people for the Democrats are the ones that are all about identity. But Trump did say this one thing. He said they don't want the vote, to be honest. He calls out Brad Raffensperger and Governor Brian Kemp at the rally. He calls them out. You know, and then, of course, they get all ticked off and, you know, say, well, he's not going to win Georgia because he's against the governor there. Well, you know what? I don't even know how Governor Kemp got reelected because they're...
Through President Trump's endorsement. That's how he beat Stacey Abrams.
Yeah, but that was actually the time before, you know, and then...
Oh, okay.
And then he ran and won again. And so because of Georgia's election... Fraud.
There's 380,761 ballots. And remember, Biden won by 11,000. So
And why do you think that?
Yeah, that's what I'm fixing to ask. Do you think those missing ballots reflected Kemp's win or loss too? I bet you it did.
Well, I totally think that he's been bought by the Democrats. I mean, that's what I think, because President Trump says right here, he's the governor. He ought to support his Republican Party, because if he doesn't have his Republican Party, I could tell you where he came from, and it wasn't good. And I'm telling you, he's right. The Democrats elected him, and, President Trump is a great leader of the Republican Party right now. He is the leader. And why? Why do you think that Governor Kemp does not want President Trump to win? Why do you think that is? I have my opinions.
Like you say, yeah, President Trump said that. President Trump said, you have a great leader of the Republican Party right here. Stand up, please. He has done an unbelievable job, and he has to work like hell with a governor that doesn't help him.
100%.
He continued his tirade against Raffensperger, insisting that the Secretary of State was complicit in a scheme to ensure an unfair election outcome. In quotes, Raffensperger ought to make sure that the vote is honest, and they don't want the vote to be honest, he said. In my opinion, they want us to lose, like you were talking about.
Because if we lose Georgia, we lose the whole thing, and our country goes to hell, because we can't have Kamala be president of the United States. She's grossly incompetent. We can't let that happen. And then Raffensperger, he comes back. He said, Georgia's elections are secure. The winner here in November will reflect the will of the people. History has taught us this type of message doesn't sell well here in Georgia, sir. Well, I wonder why it doesn't sell well. Because y'all will find a way to not have ballot images available. You will find a way to figure out, we can just make all these ballot images go away, but the numbers on the machine says this, so we're going to go by this. So there is no election integrity whatsoever in Georgia, and there isn't anything that you can say to change the minds of the American people, including Georgia Americans.
Yep. Exactly. And, we've seen this happen in 2020. We've seen it happen in 22 again. And one of the points that Jim Hoff brought out in a Gateway Pundit article, he said that Kemp, who has done nothing to combat election fraud in the state, also pushed back against Trump's attacks, claiming that his focus remains on winning the upcoming elections rather than engaging in petty personal insults. President Trump's not insulting you, bud. He's telling you the damn truth about what happened. You had a court hearing with the Georgia Board of Elections, and they told you, and you testified in court, there was that many ballots missing.
Exactly. And this whole time, Governor Kemp has been doing everything in his power against President Trump. He is part of the Rhino class, and I don't know if maybe some PAC is paying him or whatever, and I don't know why he hates President Trump so much. It might be because he got caught during the 2020 election.
Hey, discover your next great event on Eventbrite. Are you looking for an amazing experience right in your own city or around the world? Eventbrite has you covered. From concerts and festivals to conferences and workshops, find events that match your interests and your passions. Well, why choose Eventbrite? They have a vast selection. Explore events in music, food, business, tech, and more. They have easy booking. Secure your tickets in just a few clicks. They also give personalized recommendations, so you get suggestions tailored to your preferences. And you get a community connection. You can meet new people and join exciting new communities. Are you ready to explore? Are you ready for those events? Then visit Eventbrite today and dive into a world of possibilities. Whether you're planning a weekend outing or a business trip, there's something for everyone. So find your event now at www.eventbrite.com. Don't miss out on the fun. Start your adventure today.
Please click that link below. Thank you very much for supporting our sponsors.
Hey, we talk about the things that are concerning us in our country. We talk about election integrity. That in itself is pretty damn scary. The fact that your vote don't count. We've talked about the border and how it continues to be to be mainly wide open, and the crime that comes from all of that. We've talked about these things. I want to tell you something else that ought to scare the hell out of you, even with the market crashing like it has. This ought to scare the hell out of you, because we found out over the weekend by the great Jim Hoft and his reporting that federal air marshal whistleblowers reveal that Tulsi Gabbard is actively under surveillance through the Quiet Skies program. The article goes on to say that several federal air marshal whistleblowers have come forward to expose this fact, that U.S. Representative and 2020 Democrat presidential candidate Tulsi Gabbard is currently enrolled in the controversial Quiet Skies program, Undercover DC reported. Quiet Skies is a program by the TSA that uses air marshals to track and observe suspicious passengers. The program's goal is to identify travelers who may pose a risk to aviation security. In short,
a terrorist.
Exactly. So
Amazing.
You're telling me now that you're going to surveil Tulsi Gabbard
And American citizens.
And
this isn't the first time that we've heard about this. They put all the January 6 people on this no-fly list.
Yes.
On this Quiet Skies thing, but they don't do the illegal immigrants who all of a sudden they've been flying all over the world or all over America and putting them in your cities without you knowing it in the middle of the night. And guess what just came out? Fraud. It was all fraud. But I don't know that if they had this Quiet Skies program for them, I mean, they're the ones that are flying terrorists into America because they're not vetting them. So how do we know if they're not terrorists? In my book, they're terrorists.
So, and that's what's crazy. Did they bring this out just because they want to show, the air marshals and the government, we're really doing our job to stop crime and to stop domestic terrorism? Did they bring this out to show that, hey, we're doing something? It's crazy, because what they're supposed to do in this Quiet Skies program is, it says air marshals observe passengers' behavior in airports and on flights. They take notes and send detailed reports to the TSA. The program is an expansion of a practice where air marshals surveil subjects of open FBI terrorism investigations. This is the same program weaponized, like you said, against the J6 defendants and their families. Let me ask you one quick question here, man. The program is an expansion of a practice where air marshals surveil subjects of an open FBI terrorism investigation. Are you telling me Tulsi Gabbard is under investigation in an open FBI terrorism case? Is that what you're trying to say to us?
That's exactly what they said. Yeah. It goes on to say in 2023, Sonia Labasco, the director of the Air Marshal National Council, made a shocking revelation about the current situation of U.S. air security. According to her, in the current conditions, regular commercial flights will not be serviced by air marshals.
That's signal right there.
Yes,
because
it is.
how are they flying these people into the country on commercial flights?
Are you telling me they don't have air marshals on there?
Yeah.
None of them have become put on the terror watch list? None of them have been taken out of America?
Yeah. And you talked about the J6 people. Sonia Labasco revealed that the group Quiet Skies has also been focusing on individuals who happen to be in the national capital region during January 2021, tagging them as possible threats. This tracking happens regardless of whether they participated in the Capitol event or other activities surrounding that time frame. Any person within the vicinity for any reason, even innocent activities such as attending a funeral or a job interview, is potentially put on this domestic terror list and followed by air marshals during their travels. People, the surveillance in our country against our own citizens is out of control.
Yes, it is. And I'm going to blame our Congress at this point because they allow it to happen. They passed the FISA bill that allowed more, they give them more money, more unwarranted surveillance, and you went along with it. And I'm going to tell you went along with it because you didn't call.
Yes.
And we didn't call enough. And we didn't get up in front of their faces and say, we don't want more surveillance in our America. We don't want this.
Nope. But let me tell you what, it's still going to go on, and they're going to do it to you. Doesn't matter whether you're at the airport or whether you're just buying some tickets and you're wanting to go watch an NFL football game and forget about the world for about 3 hours. Because not only do we find out Tulsi Gabbard is being surveilled by the air marshals as a possible FBI terrorist, we find out that not only that's going on, Big Brother is watching you when you go to a football game. I joked on Twitter the other day, hey, you want your family photo? Just go to a football game, man. Go to an NFL football stadium. They'll take your family photo. Because what we've learned is that the NFL announces mandatory facial recognition software for all 32 teams to monitor stadium attendees. Now, they start this out by saying that they're doing this to ensure that only proper credentialed media, officials, staff, and guests can access restricted areas such as the playing field, press box, and the locker rooms. This is not something new. They were doing this last year already.
Now they're making all 32 teams. I do believe Dallas Cowboys already had this in place.
Check this out. It says that the NFL has announced this implementation of mandatory recognition software across all 32 teams, and it comes after a trial run last year at select venues, including the Cleveland Browns Stadium, and will officially kick off with this summer's preseason games. It will kick off with the Patriots and Giants home game starting August the 8th. And it says big news for Wicket as the NFL expands the use of technology league-wide this season. Credential holders simply take a selfie before they come, and then Wicket verifies their identity as they walk through security checkpoints. You're going to give them your ticket. They're going to scan your little QR code on it, and then they're going to walk you over until you look into this tablet, this computer tablet, and it's going to either instantly recognize you or it's not.
Or exactly.
What if you've paid $500 and something and you've grown a beard since you got your facial recognition? Or you took it, say you've changed your appearance somehow. You've grew a thicker mustache. You've got a bigger beard. Say you had an accident and lost an eye.
You're a woman. You gained a little weight and you're wearing your hair in a ponytail.
Exactly.
Different things. Because it happens to me all the time. I will have a picture with my hair down, and then I will take a picture with my hair up. And, doing a lot of other things, you have to do this, give your face, whatever. It's everywhere now.
And so, like you're talking about, one of the classic tactics that they use on people of this country to get them to go along to do whatever they want you to do is what? Fear porn, right?
That's exactly right.
Everything they do is claimed for security reasons.
National security. While the NFL touts this initiative as a necessary step towards enhanced security, many are questioning whether it represents an alarming shift towards surveillance culture in America. Why, sure. Why not? We know that it's already been happening, but, why wickets? All of a sudden they're congratulating this big corporation, this technology. Wicket technology was deployed in a handful of NFL stadiums last year as part of a pilot program. Other stadiums will start rolling it out beginning on August 8th when the preseason kicks off. I think we do need someone else to be out there. There shouldn't be one. We shouldn't have one person that has a majority over everybody else. Wickets?
Right. And they try to justify all of their actions by saying it's greatly reduced the amount of time and friction that comes along with entering the stadium. He said it's so much faster. Why isn't a QR code good enough? There again, too, if I walk up to you with a valid ticket and I hand it to you, our transaction ends right there. I walk inside the stadium and I attend a football game. That should be where our transaction ends.
And it really should. But I guess what they're trying to say is, We won't have to like wind you down and you go through a
Oh, they're still going to do that.
exactly.
They're still going to do that.
You're still going to have to walk through a metal detector. You're still going to have to do all of that other stuff. And I'm sorry, I think it would take a longer time. All you used to do is just hand them your ticket and walk in. Now it has become just like the airports. You can't get on a plane without being strip shirts, just about. Now it's going to be the same thing. And tell me why. Why is everything now so national security issues?
And it's not so much, and it's not so much that they're going to take you in there and strip search you.
Well, I know I was kind of going a little overboard, but that's kind of what it feels like.
Yeah, exactly. Why? Because they violate your privacy.
Yes.
Man. You know, and
I mean, they make you take your shoes off. I mean, it's it's really terrible.
Yeah, and at the end of the article, there was a tweet that Gateway Pundit shared. And it came from @Vision for the Blind. He talks about the same thing. He says the same thing that we did, that they're going to start using facial recognition to verify identity of people. And he posted a clip from the Dallas Cowboys website, and it shows just how easy it is to identify somebody in large crowds. And if you see this video, which you can go to Gateway Pundit, scroll down there, or you can go to @Vision for the Blind's X page and you can see it. Y'all know the big, huge TV screen that's sitting up there at the top of Texas Stadium?
Yes, sir.
That everybody looks at for entertainment, and it's great, and it's no. Hey, man, that not only is that a television for your enjoyment and your entertainment, it's also a camera to surveil you, and you can watch that, and they can zoom right in on any person at any seat at any location in that stadium. And they can zoom in close enough where you can read the writing on people's shirts. You can see their face clearly. Guys.
Yeah, I think we're in a police state, fellas. That's just the way it is now. They have taken and gone way too far with their surveillance of Americans, and every bit of this is against the Constitution. We are not supposed to be surveilled. Our privacy is not supposed to be.
We have constitutional rights that protect unwarranted search and seizure, man.
Yes. And this is what that is. It's unwarranted search and seizure. It's, hey, you know where I'm at every moment of every day. And I'm sorry, but I don't like that. I don't like that. Now, you can claim all day long that it's national security, but if we have a national security problem at our football games, then you have done something wrong. You have not protected Americans, and you have let millions and millions of people that we have not vetted into this country, and it's not my fault. You know whose fault it is? It's yours.
It was your job to do. Looks like they're turning on the American people, not protecting the American people.
Is this thing working?
Rise up. Well, hey, everybody, that's it for today. Thanks for listening, and I hope you've enjoyed the show. Hope you've learned some things about what's going on around us in the nation and in your communities. We couldn't do this without your continued support either. We appreciate all of you showing up, taking the time to listen to us today. So please, like I say, make sure to hit the like button, share our show with all your friends. We'll see you next time on Is This Thing Working? And as always, I'm James, and that's my lovely co-host over there,
Denise.
and we'll see you next time.
We're out.